Hello everyone. A very hearty and happy evening to everybody present over here. कैसे हैं आप सब? I would request you कि अगर आप लोग कैमरा ऑन कर सके तो I want this session to be as interactive as possible. So if you guys can switch on your cameras, it would be great.
Hello, hi Kaushik.
Hello. Okay, so I would introduce myself first. So I am Khushi Khitan and I'm a member of podcast team of My Students Club. So on the behalf of My Students Club, I welcome you all to this session. So today, as we know, the session is about CA intermediate journey Lakshya. So we have amongst us two very renowned personalities. So we have amongst us Jay Jimulia, AIR 1 of November 23 CA intermediate examination. I would like everyone to please clap virtually for him. He has made a great achievement.
Hi Kaushik, thank you so much. Yeah.
And
Thank you so
next
much.
next we have amongst us Smeet Parekh, AIR 43 of CA Intermediate, November 23. So I welcome you both on behalf of entire My Students Club team. Thank you for accepting our invite and joining in our session.
Yes, definitely. We look forward to a wonderful session, a fruitful session.
Okay, so I am very sure that this session will be very helpful to all of the people present over here. So we'll start with the session. So first question which I would like to ask you both is tell us first about your CA intermediate journey. आपकी journey कैसी थी? How did you start? क्या plans थे? Starting with Jay.
Okay, I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I cleared CA Foundation in June 2022 session. And I remember from the very next day only I started like economics and BCK paper, whatever, and the next day I started with corporate law, paper 2 of CA Inter. So basically, I'm pursuing graduation at NM College in Mumbai, which is one of the renowned colleges in Mumbai, and there you have to maintain the regular attendance as well. So it was pretty hectic in the beginning. Then I had to figure out a template how to go about with CA inter subjects and finding the synergy with the college subjects. Apart from that, my what I would like to add is that my focus was always on reasoning out everything. Like for example, if there's a legal provision, then reasoning out the legislative intent, or if there's a formula in cost accounting or in financial management, then understanding how it's derived, what it's trying to imply, how can you interpret it further on a deeper level, just beyond the question paper or just beyond a textbook explanation. Yeah, so that was my main approach. My CA inter attempt was due in May 2023, but again, as I told you that uh, I did not just want to study for the exam purpose, like how many marks is going to come for the exam accordingly. I'll study. No, not that doesn't work with me. So I would prefer to defer the attempt, understand everything, cover 100% of the syllabus, and then appear for the exams. Yeah. So this was
Oh,
basically my journey.
okay, so you appeared for foundation in June 22, and with the very
Yeah.
next day you started for corporate law studies.
Yeah. So I knew the CA inter course was very huge, so there was no time to waste.
Oh, that's great. Over to you, Smith.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Coincidentally, my journey and Jai's journey are almost similar. I also gave my foundation in June 22, and my attempt was due in May 23. But I deferred my attempt because I wanted to prepare well and then I have to give my exams, not just for the marks as Jai stated, but to really understand the concepts and all. And my journey was very good, like too many ups and downs, like all the students have.
Okay, so you are from Surat, right?
Yeah, I'm from Surat.
ओके सो ये आप लोग समझ लीजिए कि रट्टा मार के कुछ नहीं होना है, सब समझ के ही लेना है, तभी आप लोग स्कोर कर पाओगे. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
true.
Okay. So next, I would like to ask you is which faculties did you choose for the subjects, whether you took it online or offline classes, and if online, which faculties?
Um, right. So I had taken classes on online pen drive or Google Drive mode for 5 subjects, and 3 subjects I had done self-study. I'll tell which ones. So paper 1, accounting, paper 2, corporate law, and paper 7, EISSM in the old course. I had done that by self-study, and remaining 5 subjects I had taken classes on online pen drive, Google Drive mode. Um, so I'll tell you why I did that. So basically, in paper 1 accounting, the syllabus was very similar to my first year college exam syllabus. So they were already covered more or less 70% in the college itself. And anyway, I used to attend regularly. So the syllabus got covered over there, and the remaining 30% I did by myself. And for corporate law and EISSM, my approach was basically very clear that I wanted to do it from the study material itself, or ICI, and not from some summary notes of a teacher. Because, for example, in corporate law, I would prefer studying from the Bare Act and rules, which are issued as they were framed in the parliament. And that, like reading from the source, was I thought was much better approach for theory subjects like law and EISSM. That's why I opted for self-study over there. As regards the faculty, I can give you the list. So paper 3 I took from Rakesh Agrawal sir. Paper 4A, direct tax from Bhavar Borana sir, and indirect tax Vishal Bhattar sir. Paper 5, advanced accounting, Praveen Jindal sir. Paper 6, audit, Aarti Lavati ma'am, and paper 8, FM and economics from Sanjay Saraf. Yeah.
Okay. And for law, you studied from the Bare Act itself.
Yeah, so the ICA module covers the Bare Act, and even on the internet you get free for free from the MCA website.
So for the concepts which you didn't used to understand, how would you used to do that? Like you would.
Yes, so for example, there were some provisions like Section 90, significant beneficial owners. That's like quite a complicated provision, right? So there are revision videos of different professors on YouTube anywhere for free. So if I would have a particular doubt, I would go to that particular chapter's revision video, clarify that. Yeah.
Okay. And Smith, you?
Actually, I have done all of my inter studies offline. I have not taken any online classes, or I have not watched any of the YouTube lectures or any revision video. I have done my classes from Ravi Chowdhury Institute, RCI. They also provide online lectures. If pen drive they don't provide, but they provide lectures. If you want to, anyone want to, they can. But I believe Personally, I believe that it's best to attend classes offline. I'm after for my finals, I'm staying in Surat only to attend offline classes. I'm not pursuing any big four or that why. I want to attend my offline classes.
I have seen this of many Surat people. So आपके classes कितने
Uh,
घंटे के होते थे? How many hours?
uh, Classes it's around 3 lectures होते थे on an average 3 lecture होते थे per day and for one lecture is around 1.5 hours, so 4 to 5 hours classes होते थे and under one roof all the faculties cover all the topic and it's amazing. I believe like no need to go here and there for different lectures.
So in a day, 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. The next question which I would like to ask is कि आप लोगों ने theory कैसे पढ़ा था and practical कैसे पढ़ा था? Like practical में आप लोगों को कितने मतलब revisions आप लोगों ने लिख के देखा था, कितने कैसे किया था and कितने बार revisions किया था आप लोगों ने? Your approach towards the practical and theory subjects.
Should I start or should Smith
Yeah,
continue?
yeah, start.
Okay, fine. So basically, for me, everything was for the first time it was everything in writing basically. So whether it's theory subject or a practical subject, obviously the approaches were different. So for theory subjects, I would make my own handwritten notes from the ICI module, and that would basically be just a replica, line by line, reading and then writing it out. So basically, I think that is a much more active form of studying than just reading. So in reading, there's a possibility that you might miss out a line, you miss out some words, and the whole meaning and the
Yeah.
understanding changes, right? So that's what everything was in writing basically. So for law, I had prepared a 400 pages notes handwritten. For audit, there was another 400 pages notes, and Imagine. Yeah. And for ES, there was 400 pages, and for SM, there was another 150 pages. Yeah. So it was more in writing than reading. And for practical subjects, for example, like accounting, cost accounting, FM, um, over there, the writing practice meant trying to solve the illustration before the teacher solved it. So basically, that's why I chose online pen drive mode, where I can pause the video, try the question in advance by myself, solve it independently, so that I have the opportunity to make a mistake. And only then I'll know where I've misunderstood a topic or not understood something, right? So that is why that was the primary reason why I did not opt for offline classes. Like in offline classes, they rush with the syllabus, and I did not like that personally. That's why I wanted to take my own time. And in pen drive, Google Drive mode, you can pause the video, you can solve the question in advance. So I would prefer that form of studying better.
So we have two different personalities with us. One is full supporting fully online and one is offline. So online में बहुत लोग की प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती है कि दे आर नॉट मतलब डिसिप्लिन नहीं आता है कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं आता है सो व्हाट वुड यू सजेस्ट फॉर देम कि मतलब आपने
Um,
कितने दिन की हाउ मेनी आवर्स डिड यू स्टडी डेली एंड व्हाट वाज आप कैसे प्लान करते थे कौन सा सब्जेक्ट उठाना क्या करना लाइक ऑफलाइन क्लासेस में सब शेड्यूल होता है कि ऐसा ऐसा होने वाला है you don't have to apply your brains.
Yeah,
Online
so
lab.
organizing this whole scheduling becomes quite a task. It was pretty haphazard in the beginning, obviously, to figure out everything. But eventually, I came to a schedule like 6:45 to 11 in the morning. I had to attend college, and then I would come back, and basically, after then I would have an early lunch, and then begin with the classes. So on average, I would do around 4 to 5 hours every day, like Smith, similar amount. But it took much more than 4 to 5 hours. It took say 6 to 7 hours, because I was trying out the solution by myself, trying to understand everything word by word, comparing with the ICI module. So uh, it's much more than just watching the lectures. That's what many people fail to do. They just watch it at 2x speed or 1.5 speed, and they do not pay attention to every word of the teacher's explanation, or nor do they bother to like compare. For example, if it's matching with the ISA module, what they are solving an illustration, for example. So effective time, it would be around 6 to 7 hours to cover a 4 to 5 hour lecture. Okay, and after that, obviously, there was time for self study. So I told you I would prefer making handwritten notes. So that also takes time, right? Um, so yeah, basically, you have to come to a fixed discipline schedule. How to maintain that discipline? There are many ways. So firstly, you can set weekly goals for yourself. So I used to set weekly goals. Some people set daily goals. That is very personal choice. And apart from that, it is loving what you do in terms of the passion for the subject, right? If that is not driving you forward, I don't know what can drive. So that's what I would always prefer, where the subject is pulling you to study rather than somebody forcing.
So subjects did you choose one by one और आपने कैसे subjects कैसे choose किया?
So I mixed 2 to 3 subjects at a time. So I started with GST and audit and the advanced accounting, and then slowly, when the direct tax batch came for the relevant assessment year, I took that. Then I moved to FM and cost accounting. Like that, it was pretty haphazard in that sense. There was no organized schedule, but eventually it panned out properly.
Okay, that's great. Now, Smith, over to you. How many revisions did you take and approach towards practical and theory subjects?
Okay, so like theory, for theory you cannot put like last में करेगा ऐसा नहीं कर सकता है. आपको starting से ही theory बार बार revise करनी पड़ेगी. जितनी बार revise कर सकते हो उतने कम है. And for theory I would choose the source like from module only I have read almost all theory apart from law, because it was too repetitive on the module. So for audit and SM I have choose module only. And I have devote more time over theory as like practicals में marks आ जाता है. थियरी में जहाँ पे भी जो भी आप देखोगे रैंकर्स के मार्कशीट और जो रैंक नहीं ला पाए उनके मार्कशीट में यही डिफरेंस है कि थियरी में उनके मार्क्स नहीं आते, वो रट नहीं पाते. चीज एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा कि रटना पड़ेगा चीज़ों को. तो थोड़ी चीज़ें स्टार्टिंग से रटना चालू करनी पड़ेगी, तभी एक रैंक लाना है तो रटना सब करना पड़ेगा ऐसा है.
Ratna, in
एंड
the
फॉर
sense you can say the keywords.
yeah, keywords and you can even learn the language of it. I have learned audit whole answers.
That's
and
very
and for practicals, do like I have not preferred module for practicals. There's a Taxman Cracker करके book आती है, उसको
yeah.
मैंने prefer किया है, and हमारे institute से भी book मिलती है, उसको मैंने prefer किया है.
Okay. So आप दोनों के बीच में ये कॉमन था कि आप दोनों ने defer किया attempt to November 23. So for
Yeah.
the DT and IDT part for the amendments, like how did you do that? Like आप लोगों ने अगर like have you prepared first itself कि you will give it in November 23 या आपने बाद में decide किया कि you will give it in November 23?
Uh, I was pretty much decided in Fab only that I will defer my attempt. And about the amendment, there were not many much amendment. Like उतना amendment नहीं होता है, क्योंकि वो same ही लगता है law का.
Taxation.
हाँ, टैक्सेशन एक्ट सेम ही होता है, फाइनेंस एक्ट सेम ही होता है, इसके लिए इतना अमेंडमेंट नहीं होता है. जो भी अमेंडमेंट होता है वो जीएसटी में ही था, और वो भी बहुत कम था. एग्जाम्पशन में थोड़े बहुत अमेंडमेंट थे बस.
Okay. And Jay, you?
Yeah, so it was a similar decision around Jan Feb. I knew that I would rather take more time and prepare properly for it. So again, the amendments for direct tax, there are not so many amendments because the Finance Act is the same, and the direct tax batch which I had taken was applicable for Finance Act 22, assessment year 23, 24. So for direct tax, there are not so many amendments, but for indirect taxes, I felt that there are quite a few amendments. So basically, again, there are videos on YouTube which cover amendments, but I would not recommend that. I would say go to ICS Board of Studies Knowledge Portal. Over there is one statutory update section, and
Yeah.
for every session, they give a statutory update for corporate law, GST, and income tax. Uh, GST is particularly important, I think, to study the amendments. Apart from exemptions, I think there are certain more changes as well. Let me recall. It was in, I think, in return filing topic and even some other topics. Like e-invoicing was changed, and there were quite a few amendments over there. So, and a lot of questions from the November 23 exams, and I think previous sessions also, they are testing a lot on amendments, particularly in GST. So again,
Yeah.
I would say go to the uh, BOS knowledge portal. Over there, see the whole amendment, because sometimes the teachers on YouTube, they might not cover everything, or they might skip some minor element, and we cannot take the risk for that. So yeah.
Okay. That's great. And for the MCQ part, how did you both approach? Was it like MCQ 30 marks के होते हैं, but it's very tricky and it's not easy to score in MCQs. So MCQ part के लिए आप लोगों ने क्या practice करी थी, कहाँ से आपने material उठाया था, and how did you do for it?
Right. For MCQ, I would say I divided into two parts. Like for us, there are MCQs only for four papers. That's corporate law, taxation, audit, and ESSM. Right.
Yes, yes.
And for me, particularly ESSM, corporate law, and audit, the MCQs, I did not find them very difficult. They were in fact very scoring for me. So if you prepare for the descriptive part properly, I think MCQs get covered on their own for those three subjects. Um, but for taxation, like direct tax MCQs are particularly challenging. I had to practice them 2-3 times. Like from ICA's MCQ booklet and my classes book, they had compiled the same MCQs chapter wise basis. So for direct tax, I would particularly say MCQs should be practiced thoroughly because they are quite lengthy. They ask you the entire total income and the tax liability and all the deductions and everything in one tiny MCQ for 2 marks into 3, a case study, for example. So 6 marks ke liye, they'll ask an entire total income question. So it is important to maintain that speed as well. So to know how to solve that MCQ. So basically in MCQs, presentation does not matter. You can just do it in rough. And to get that speed with accuracy is very important. So I had separately practiced MCQs only for direct tax. And for the rest, I think the descriptive part covered for me. But now in the new course, I think every paper has got
Every
MCQs,
paper has
including
it.
accounting and cost accounting and FM. So I don't know how they are structuring their MCQs. Is it in the form of numerical questions or theory? So that the uh, new candidates will have to check by themselves. I think whether practice is required for them or not separately.
Okay, thank you. Smith, over you.
For MCQ, I believe, as Jay said, law, audit, and SM are pretty simple. And if you have solved the whole MCQ booklet, you can I'm pretty sure you can score 20 plus mark out of 30. And for tax, as Jay said, it's pretty tricky. You have to go through each and every MCQ. Your concept must be very clear, and you must be able to recognize all the sections, because it might happen that all the sections might apply. Few of the sections might apply in a big sum. So that your concept must be very clear in MCQ. क्योंकि कभी कभी एकदम छोटे पॉइंट से पूरा आंसर चेंज हो जाता है,
Yeah.
एंड जहाँ पे 2 मार्क का एमसीक्यू है वहाँ पे आपको पूरा जीरो मिल सकता है. आई हैव माय फ्रेंड वो लाइक उसका 5 मार्क से रैंक छूट गया, तो वहाँ पे एमसीक्यूज ऐसा होता है कि ये सिली मिस्टेक की वजह से रैंक छूट गया, वरना 2 एमसीक्यू सही हो जाता रैंक आ जाता उसका.
Yeah, that's so very true.
हाँ.
So MCQ के लिए what we have inferred is if it is for theory subjects, then you need to practice. Then you need to read the module thoroughly, and for the practical subjects you need to understand the concepts clearly so that you can crack it in the exams. क्योंकि case study based होता है and आपको पूरा समझ के लेना होता है, and then you can only solve the MCQ. So that is for the MCQ thing. Now the next thing which I would like to ask is कि what was your strategy during the last 1.5 days? कि इतना मतलब मेन चीज सीए में तो यही होती है कि इतना सारा पढ़ना है, इतना सारा ये सब चीजें है, तो लास्ट 1.5 डेज में हाउ टू कवर एवरीथिंग.
Yeah, so in the last 1.5 days, I would say that there is no time to read every line of the module or any other course material which you use. So we need to filter, but not chapter wise, but section in every chapter. So what I would say is that focus on the most important parts of every chapter first. And by important, what do I mean? It means the most error prone areas where you could possibly make a mistake in the exam. So usually it's towards the end of the chapter where they are combining all the topics together. They are asking, for example, in accounting, there's consolidated financial statement. So usually the ending ke illustrations and all, they have all the adjustments together. So in advance only, you need to filter out that which are more comprehensive questions, which are more for this for the numerical subjects, which are more tougher parts of the chapter. That will apply even for taxation, cost accounting, FM, and accounting. For theory subjects, basically, you need to make summarized notes in advance. So I remember for audit, I had summarized around 50% of the syllabus in around 50 pages in very tiny handwriting. And um, in the on the last 1.5 days, I had referred majority from that portion itself, and for the remaining, I referred the ICA module or uh, the class books. But mainly it should be ISI module itself. If you have not made your own summarized notes, then you can highlight particular areas again. So it's planning in advance how you'll structure the 1.5.
So how much in advance did you started filtering out the material? After how many
Um,
revisions, after how many readings?
Basically, it was in the last 60 days, around last 60 to 75 days, where I started actually considering what should be done in that 1.5 days. Yeah.
Okay. And Smith?
Okay, so last 1.5 days are very important, and you have to decide before exam that what are you going to revise. I have not decided that, and I have made a mistake. Because of that, I 16 days के एग्जाम में मैं सिर्फ 8 दिन सोया था. मतलब कल एग्जाम है तो आज पूरी रात जगा था, ऐसा हुआ था. बिकॉज मैंने नोट्स किसी में नहीं बनाया एक्सेप्ट फॉर टैक्सेशन, डायरेक्ट टैक्स मैंने नोट्स किसी में नहीं बनाई थी. तो आई हैव टू गो थ्रू होल कंटेंट अगेन, एंड इतना टाइम नहीं होता है, तो आई हैव टू सेक्रीफाइस माई स्लीप. So you have to make precise note and decide what you are going to revise before exam, way before exam. They are more important than a whole CA journey, CA inter duration.
That's so very true. So, for effectively managing your 1.5 days, the key is that you need to start filtering it out way before itself, like 1 month or 2 months before itself. You need to filter out that what is important, what is difficult for you, where are you going to make mistakes. You need to filter it out that, and accordingly, then you have to study that in 1.5 days, because 1.5 days में सब कुछ पढ़ना, that is not at all possible. So that's the key. The next question is how do you manage the stress? लाइक इतना सब पढ़ना होता है, इतना सब मतलब इतनी सारी चीजें चलती है, एक मतलब दूसरी भी चीजें चलती रहती है लाइफ में, फैमिली फ्रेंड्स हो गया या वॉट एवर इट इज, पढ़ाई का भी बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रेस हो जाता है कि ये भी है ये भी है वो सब, ये सारी चीजें एक साथ करनी है. सो हाउ डू यू मैनेज द स्ट्रेस एंड हाउ डू यू रिमेन काम?
So for managing stress, basically, first of all, you should plan well. So if you have planned everything in advance, hopefully things will go better. But obviously, everything doesn't go according to plan. Then again, you need to readjust your plans. And sometimes if you are demotivated, what I used to do, basically, I would switch to my favorite subjects. It's like it's so financial management, cost accounting, basically what I would like to do, and that would uplift my mood. Other than that, you can also pursue some hobbies. So, like I like to play the piano, for example. So, giving half an hour to that, or say 1 hour to that every week, should not be such a big issue. It will rather boost your efficiency in the remaining time.
Okay, so pursuing your hobby. And Smith, you?
ओके सो लाइक मैनेजिंग स्ट्रेस कितना भी मैनेज कर लो, कभी ना कभी ब्रेकडाउन आएगा ही. मेरा ऑडिट के एग्जाम से पहले ब्रेकडाउन आया था. तो मतलब ठीक है, राइट आउट इट्स ओके, बट ट्राई करो एज जैसे प्लान करो थोड़ा बहुत. और आई यूज टू गो फॉर अ वॉक, दैट्स यूज टू रिलीज माई स्ट्रेस. बट अगर ब्रेकडाउन आया तो राइट आउट इट्स ओके.
Okay, that's so very true. So, to effectively manage your stress, to add on to this, I would like to say that you can do meditation every 5 minutes. Like daily, may even if you do every 5 minutes, it will help you in the long run. So, this one, you pursuing your hobby, going on a walk, doing meditation for 5 to 10 minutes. So, these things will help you to manage your stress, and planning is the key. Because अगर आप प्लान नहीं करोगे कुछ तो स्ट्रेस तो आना ही है. So planning is the key. And one more question which I would like to ask is कि how do you stay away from the distractions? कि आप लोगों के पास मोबाइल था या नहीं था, कि मोबाइल ही नहीं था?
Uh, I'll answer that. So basically, I'm not on many social media platforms. Like I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on Facebook, not on Twitter or X, that now it's called. Uh, and even phone I have, basically it's for college se updates aati hai, and even CA related updates. For example, if any amendment comes. Plus, I was taking classes in online mode, right? So I need an internet connection. So I would usually use my mobile data. So obviously phone had to be there. Uh, but as far as possible, I would like switch it off, hide it under the blanket or under the pillow, or hide it in the cupboard. So basically, uh, it is having that self control, right? Which matters in the end. However, you do it.
Okay, that's great. Smith?
Actually, I was pretty much active in almost all social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram. Like before exam, also भी 1 hour Instagram का screen time आ जाता है.
Oh
So
my God.
हाँ, so like it's okay. मतलब उस I cannot, like it's a distraction. I have accepted it कि time waste हो रहा है और फिर उसको manage करके मैं कर रहा था. मतलब मुझसे वो कम नहीं हुआ. 1 hour is the minimum I have to spend there. ऐसा.
So I don't think so you will suggest this to the
No, I
audience.
don't suggest it. But I was not able to stop it. If you can, you must.
Okay, so you can set a what you can, I think what you can do is set your screen time कि इतना ही पढ़ना है. So ये
Nothing
चीज
works,
कर
but
सकते
still.
हैं. And having your self control is the key. And I would like to ask you, what about the examination, the test papers? Did you take mock test papers? How many tests did you appear before your exams? And does taking tests help you for appearing in the final examinations?
So taking tests helps a lot. Basically, you get a whole template of how to use your 3 hours, how to utilize the 3 hours time. So for me, I did not opt for any external test series or anything. Uh, it was basically from the RTPs, MTPs, and past year papers of ICI itself. And I think that is the best source of practice. Anybody should first use that. Um, the order, first I would prefer solving RTPs. They are not the exam style structure questions of 100 marks. They are covering questions of every chapter. So basically, it's more exhaustive and there's no time limit. So again, you're focused on getting the accuracy, the answers correct. Then I would say move to the MTPs, mock test papers of ICI. they are slightly on the simpler side in terms of difficulty compared to the past papers, but you get used to that 3 hour 3 hour time limit. And then you can move to the past papers. It's like the final test before appearing for the exams, right? Uh, as to how many RTPs, MTPs to solve, it's as many you can as possible. So I had like downloaded all of the RTPs, MTPs, past papers from 2018 onwards. I was not able to solve everything. Like even with a 4 month and 4 to 5 month study leave, like after classes got over. So what I had done, I had solved RTPs from around 2019 onwards, all of them, and MTPs and past papers from 2020 November.
So
Um,
you used to sit at home and solve all of them with the time limit.
yes. For MTPs and past papers with the time limit, like again, I would like to add that for MTBs and past papers, I would set a time limit of 2 hours 45 minutes and not the 3 hours. And even I would not give myself the reading time. So it's basically handicapping yourself so that in the exam, suppose any difficult question comes or if a lengthy paper comes, you have that buffer time of 15 minutes in the end. And that proved very beneficial. Like for taxation and 2, 3 other papers as well, I remember correcting my answer in the last 10 to 5 to 10 minutes and ultimately it became correct. Yeah.
So that's a very great strategy, that limiting your time, like giving less 15 minutes less, so that आप paper में effectively manage कर सको time and you can complete the papers.
Exactly.
Smith,
Then completing the paper also is not a big issue. Then it easily gets over.
yeah. मतलब बहुत से लोगों का स्पीड नहीं मैनेज हो पाता है एंड इट इज द प्रॉब्लम कि हमारा पेपर ही नहीं कंप्लीट हो रहा है. बट इफ यू गिव, अगर आप प्रैक्टिस में 15 मिनट कम ले तो फिर आपका पेपर कंप्लीट हो जाएगा.
Okay. So like speed, जिसको भी स्पीड नहीं आ रही है उसे जितने पेपर हो सके उतना लिखना चाहिए इन द एग्जाम एनवायरनमेंट. जैसा एग्जाम में एनवायरनमेंट होगा वैसा घर पे बनाओ या जहाँ पे भी क्लासेस है वहाँ पे ऐसा एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट करो और पेपर लिखो. आई हैव रिटन ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन 40 टेस्ट पेपर and full paper I have written almost 1 or 2. In text I have written 2 full paper. Subjects where I'm pretty, for accounts I have written 2 test paper, full test paper. There are subjects which I'm pretty sure कि ये छूट सकते हैं एग्जाम में, तो उसकी और प्रैक्टिस करो. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट मेरा फाइनल एग्जाम में 800 आउट ऑफ 800 मार्क्स का मैं अटेम्प्ट कर पाया था. एंड आई बिलीव दैट्स वन ऑफ द रीजन व्हाई आई सिक्योर्ड एन AIR, बिकॉज मेरे बाकी फ्रेंड्स के जहाँ पे 10 मार्क 15 मार्क का पेपर छूट गया, तो 80 मार्क्स का तो वैसे ही उन लोग का एलिमिनेट हो गया. उनका गेम ही फिर 720 मार्क्स से आ रहा है.
Yeah.
So write as much paper as you can.
So to secure a rank, what we have got this key strategy is attempt the 800 marks paper. Until and unless you do not attempt the 800 marks paper, आपके more marks secure करने के chances थोड़े कम होते जाते हैं. And practice as much as you can. The more number of papers you solve, the more grip you will get over it. Okay. So the last question which I would like to ask you both is, any specific tip or guidance for our audience? Jay, starting with you.
Right. So I think what I wanted to make the whole theme of this discussion was to enjoy the subject more, understand the why, the how behind every concept, and not just memorizing that these are the 10 bullet points. Just remember that. Trying to develop that full understanding is very important. And then even on the last 1.5 days, for example, by chance you're not able to revise that topic, subtopic from the chapter. Still in the exam situation, you will be able to recall it if you have understood exactly what it is trying to imply, how you interpret it further. And that will arise in all the subjects nearly. So that's one tip I would like to share. Other than that, try to understand the interlinkages between the subjects. So it could be within a subject between different chapters. That's very important in case of direct tax, for example, and even GST. But there are interlinkages between different subjects as well. So we can link many topics from advanced accounts and audit, for example. FM and costing also, there are quite a few topics which can be linked, like there's relevant cost, irrelevant cost. And other than that, let me think. Writing practice definitely important. So those are the main tips which I would like to suggest.
Okay, Jay, thank you so much. Smith, you?
First of all, जो जय ने बात की interlink करो subject को, it's very important. You may not understand the importance of it in inter, but when you are in final, there's a paper 6 where all the subjects are interlinked and you have to, अगर अभी से practice होगी तो वहाँ पे help करेगा. So interlink is very important. सेकंड थिंग, पेपर सिंपल ही आता है एग्जाम में. 80% ऑफ द पेपर इज अपना जैसा मॉड्यूल में क्वेश्चंस देखे उसी टाइप का आएगा. पेपर इज सिंपल. जस्ट डोंट टेक स्ट्रेस. पूरा पेपर अटेम्प्ट करो और मेक योर आंसर्स क्लियर. जो भी लैंग्वेज है उसे प्रॉपर करो. ऐसा, दैट्स द एडवाइस.
So the advices which we have got from our anchors is कि attempt the full paper, understand the concepts and interlink it with other subjects so that आप लोग को in the future it helps you. And do not mug up the concepts. Understand the concepts very clearly. So that's the advice. Now we are open to a question and answer round. So whosoever has questions can can raise your hands and ask one by one. Yes, Divya.
Actually, I want to ask that, I mean, actually, this is the question to both the rankers that in paper you solve the theory question first or MCQ question first. That I mean descriptive question first or MCQ question first. What you attempted first?
Jay, could you answer that?
Um, I would prefer solving the MCQ component first. So I would recommend that to everybody. It's basically 30 marks which you can secure in the bag in like first 25 to 30 minutes. And then completing the remaining descriptive part becomes quite a piece of cake. In 2 hours 30 minutes, around 70 marks, it shouldn't be difficult. Uh, Secondly, your frame of mind in the first 30 minutes is much better than something in the last 30 minutes. So in the last 30 minutes, you are exhausted. You are already tired after solving the descriptive questions. And if you put the MCQs, then there are chances of silly mistakes. And it is uh, very profitable to score in MCQs as much as possible because nobody can cut your marks without any reason. So there's no subjectivity, right, in the testing. If the answer is correct, they have to award you those marks. And that's why I would prefer solving the MCQs first.
Actually, I asked this question because I tried to solve the one MTP and it took me around 1 hour to complete the 30 question paper. So actually, I was worried. In fact, more than 1 hour. And that
Um,
is why I was asking. And in fact, I want to ask you one more question that you know actually I'm giving my first attempt in May 2024. So paper pattern has changed now. More case studies will be asked in costing and in every paper. So we don't have much questions to practice. So what you would like to advise me on this?
right. So firstly, the MCQ part. I never would take more than 30 to 40 minutes to solve the MCQ section, and you can keep a timer for yourself. If you are finding difficulty in solving the MCQs quickly, you can definitely practice on ICA MCQ booklet. Okay, and other than that, um, for MCQs, I would suggest um, that presentation is not important, as I told earlier. So their handwriting doesn't matter. You don't have to be neat. You just have to write down the figure. So for example, in taxation, for example, if a figure is 5 lakh, you can just write 5L on a rough piece of paper while you're solving. Uh, you don't need to be true to the presentation over there. It's basically getting to the answer as quickly as possible. And for theory subjects like audit and law, basically it doesn't take so much time, I think. I don't know for cost accounting and FM, the new subjects where there are MCQs which are added. But again, you can practice on improving speed because ideally it should not take more than 35 to 40 minutes to solve 30 marks MCQs. And what was the second question? It was on.
I was asking that how I can prepare. And when you said that try to solve MCQ booklet, then you are saying MCQs question which are behind the chapters.
So basically, in my attempt, they had released an MCQ booklet. For example, in income tax, there are 200 questions. In GST, there are 150 questions. So I don't know in the new course how they are
I
put
think
the
they have not
MCQs.
released it yet for the new course ones, the MCQ booklet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I'm not sure, but definitely you can practice the end of chapter questions if they have added MCQs there. And for the related subjects which have continued, you can try to access the old course MCQs as well. So which are the subjects which are continued, like law will remain the same, audit will remain the same. You can practice on
Smith, what are your views on this?
Nothing to say. Everything is covered by Jai.
That's so very true. And one question which I would like to ask you both is, how do you manage the starting 15 minutes? जो आपको पेपर के पहले जो 15 मिनट्स मिलता है, आप उसको कैसे मैनेज करते हो, एंड व्हाट डू यू, आप क्या देखते हो, क्या कैसे करते हो 15 मिनट्स में?
Okay. So for the first 15 minutes, I used to go through the whole question paper as any student would, as quickly go through the paper and then first question, which is the compulsory one. For the first 5 minutes, I go through the paper. Then I focus on the first question, which is compulsory. And when the paper comes, I firstly write that question and then I'll switch to MCQ.
Okay, that's a great strategy. Jay?
utilizing the first 15 minutes, right? What I used to do basically, I would go through the question paper first. It was not reading every line of the question, but it was understanding from which topic area are they testing. So that was the first task which to be done in the first 15 minutes. Then it is basically prioritizing the order in which you'll solve the questions, which question you'll skip. Um, so for me, I had covered the syllabus 100%, right? So it was a big task to decide which question to skip. Like people normally find it easy. Ki, I've not done this portion, so I'll just skip that. That only happened with me in advanced accounting, where there was an amendment in that NBFC uh, regulation. So uh, only there I knew I had to skip this question. Otherwise, I had to debate myself a lot. So again, it depends on you. What I would say, which question to skip, obviously the one which you think is least scoring. But in terms of the order in which you're solving the questions, people say that attempt the easiest question first, which you can solve quickly. And I agree with that 100%. But one more thing I would like to add is that try to solve those questions first where you can reconcile the answers quickly. So, for example, in accounting, if they ask a question with a balance sheet, and if it tallies, you get that confidence in the start only. So then that momentum carry forwards to the future questions.
ओके, सो वेरी वेल सेड कि जो स्टार्टिंग के 15 मिनट्स होते हैं उसमें आपको यूटिलाइज करना होता है कि आप क्या सॉल्व करोगे एंड क्या नहीं सॉल्व करोगे. सो इट डिसाइड्स कि आप फ्यूचर में कैसे सॉल्व करोगे. रिक्वेस्ट, यस, यस अर्शिता.
Hello, am I audible?
या यू आर.
Thank you. So, first of all, I congratulate you guys for the remarkable feat, Jay and Smith.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
thank you for this amazing, insightful session. So, I have my attempt in November 24 for CA Intermediate. It's not sure that it will be in November only because you guys know that there is a new notification from ICI. So, we'll wait for that. So, I want to know the preparation strategy for the same, like how many subjects to do per day.
So again, this is very personalized choice. I would prefer doing 2 to 3 subjects in a day, uh, mainly because my efficiency would go down after say 4 hours of studying the same subject. Uh, Obviously, towards the end, you'll have to get that habit of studying because in the last 1.5 days you have to do only one subject. But uh, for me, it is always efficient to study 2 to 3 subjects in a day. Um, it depends on you entirely. So some people prefer studying one subject in a day entirely, devote it entirely, and get a big chunk of that portion done. So again, it depends on you entirely.
Okay, thank you.
Uh, I have something to add. I have one type of ratio in my mind, 1:3. If I'm doing 1 hour of practical, then I have to do 3 hours of theory. I
Okay.
try to follow that as much as I can. So because in the CA theory portion is more, and there is the scope of you can score high marks. So I
Yeah.
believe try to follow this as much as you can. And I used to do 2 3 subject as Jai said.
Okay, thank you so much. And you guys know very well that all the days are not productive, right? So was it same with you guys as well that some of your days used to be unproductive? So how you cope up with same?
Yeah, so obviously some days will not be as productive as the others, but again, you have to readjust your plans. You have to, in fact, while planning only, you should keep it as a normal loss. So, like in costing, we have the normal loss of labor hours. So, accordingly, you can set a certain time which will get wasted as a provision. Like a buffer, basically. You can have a buffer
Hmm.
day in your plan. Like if 7 days plan is there, then 1 day's buffer or half a day's buffer, where you'll cover the backlog.
Okay.
And bouncing back from the say wasted time again, I told you can start off with your favorite subject, build that momentum again, and go ahead.
सो हमारे रैंकर्स जो उस मटेरियल का है वही लैंग्वेज यूज करते हैं नॉर्मल लॉस एंड बफर.
So do you have some more time, or I shall mute myself?
Smith, what are your views on this?
ऑफ कोर्स डेज हो गए जहाँ पर पढ़ाई नहीं हो गई, बट आई वुड से कि ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आप बिल्कुल भी नहीं पढ़ रहे हो, क्योंकि अगर एक बार ब्रेक पड़ गया ना तो फिर वहां से चालू करना इट्स टू डिफिकल्ट. डू
Yeah.
वॉट एवर यू कैन. अगर ऐसा है कि नहीं पढ़ने का मन हो रहा है तो जो पहले पढ़ा था उसे रिवाइज करो, जो सिंपल चीजों को चालू करो, उस चीज को करो. ऐसा पूरा ब्रेक हो गया तो वो दिक्कत करेगा.
All right. So I have one more question. Shall I ask?
Yes, go forward.
थैंक यू. सो लॉ में जैसे यू नो दैट कि अभी जैसे क्लासेस इनिशियल फेज ही है, तो अभी क्लासेस शुरू हुई है. सो व्हाट वी आर सपोज्ड टू डू विद द क्लासेस? वी हैव टू रिवाइज द लिमिट्स एंड पेनल्टीज एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स, और वी शैल cram whole concept, like you know better than us, as you gave the exams, that लॉ में कहते हैं कि सेम लैंग्वेज लिखनी पड़ती है, ये है वो है. तो थियरी सब्जेक्ट्स के लिए व्हाट इज योर व्यू? सो प्लीज.
So I had not taken classes for law personally, so I think Smith will be better equipped to answer that question. But I can just say what I did. So I told you made handwritten notes. So over there, the language was basically a replica of ISI module, and then writing that language doesn't become so much of an issue. And even I would not recommend just memorize the language of the ICI module. I would rather say that understand it firstly, and eventually, when you read it more often than not, the same type of language, eventually in the exam, it would not be difficult to get it around that type of lexicon. So, this will happen with you in audit also and law also. So, it should not become difficult if you have done writing practice in advance. Apart from that, how to manage it with class, I think Smith will answer that better.
Yes, thank you.
Can you repeat your question regarding classes? Actually, there was connection error. I haven't heard the question properly.
Yeah, so I asked that I am attending the classes as of now. It is just the
Hmm.
initial phase only, and what we are supposed to do with it, like 2 hours or three. I attend 2 classes of law per day because for me, I think that I can attend them
Okay.
feasibly. So
See.
I want to, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For law, your concept must be very clear. It's okay. So first clear your concepts, then don't learn the whole language. Just learn specific part of a provision which is very important. Like punchline होता है जो checker वो line तुम्हारे questions में ढूंढना चाहता है, तो उस provision को properly learn करो और try to keep the language as much as you can of module. But it's not like कि तुम्हें पूरा रटना है.
Hmm. Yes. सही
Learn
बात.
the specific provisions. Okay.
Hmm. जैसे अभी मैंने क्लासेस स्टार्ट कर दिए हैं, 1 मंथ हो चुका है, तो अभी टोटल 6 मंथ्स की हमें क्लासेस करनी है. मतलब जितनी भी जल्दी खत्म हो जाए उस पर डिपेंड करता है ना. और उसके बाद रिविजन के लिए मिनिमम हाउ मच टाइम इज रिक्वायर्ड? 3 to 4 months.
See,
Where?
इट्स नॉट लाइक कि एक बार अभी फटाफट क्लासेस कर लो फिर लास्ट में रिवाइज करोगे. अभी जब क्लास कर रहे हो उसके साथ सॉरी उसके साथ साथ ही रिवाइज करना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू फॉलो लाइक आई यूज टू माई सर यूज टू टेल अस कि फॉलो 1721 स्ट्रेटेजी. जो आज पढ़ा है वो कल पढ़ो, फिर 7 days के बाद पढ़ो और फिर वापस 21 days के बाद पढ़ो. सो अगर आपके क्लासेस 15 days पहले भी खत्म हो रहे देन ऑल्सो यू वुड बी एबल, यू आर प्रीटी मच इक्विप्ड फॉर द एग्जाम. So you have to revise while you are studying, not to keep it at end. Okay.
Yeah, got that. Thank.
Okay. So we have one question from Niti Singh. That he's saying that I'm not getting confidence, particularly for working capital chapter in FM, as each question is new and with lots of information. I miss something, or in some question, it's not strike in my mind that how to approach this question. So tips for this chapter from both of you.
For working capital management in FM, right? Um, Over there, actually, it is an accounting chapter and not a FM chapter because it's more of estimating the working capital and the ratios where you use them, like trade receivables turnover, trade payables turnover. But anyway, that doesn't matter. How to study the subject? So basically, the classes which I had taken, they had explained the topic very nicely. Uh, so over there, you have to be able to reason out everything. Why something is different in a particular question, why something is not different, something else, some other treatment is applied somewhere else. Um, so there was a question on double shift, and I think, and there are some two, three special types of questions which my classes are marked specifically from the ISI module itself. So I did not find particular difficulty in the chapter, but again, for revising those special points, I would say make a summary, a handwritten notes where you are covering the special parts of every chapter, and that will be very useful for the last day revision. You can mark out particular illustrations where you found difficulty, practice them again and again. I think even for, yeah, I remember working capital management, I had to solve the illustrations two, three times to be able to get the full hang over it without making any error for the whole illustration. Like there are very tiny areas over there, so practice again and again. That's what I would say.
Okay. Smith, how did you approach towards it?
Actually, I don't know what modules look like for practical subject. I haven't even opened those books. So, like in FM, we have a book from our classes, and in that, every topic was very nicely covered, and there are all the type of points are covered in it. So, I didn't find any difficulty. I don't think so. I would able to contribute towards or any. I don't think so. I'm right fitted. As whatever Jay has said, it's enough.
Okay, so practice is the key.
Yes.
Uh, Basuri, uh, you can proceed with the question.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
First of all, thank you for keeping this session. Now you know that the time is very less left for the exams to come in, and particularly I have in doubt in practical subjects like costing and taxation. So under these two subjects, I've made a lot of mistakes also. And please, could you tell your approach? How did you guys have approached in the last 40 days for solving questions?
Jay, you are mute. Jay, mute.
Oh, sorry. Am I audible now? I think so. Yes.
Yeah, you are.
For practicing cost accounting and taxation and any other numerical subject for that matter, uh, I think the best way to practice it is keep a rough pen and paper in your hand and solve it in rough again. So if it's a 5 lakh amount, I would just write 5L and so on. Uh, the focus is not on presentation right now. There's no time to do all that. In the exam, obviously, you know that you have to make uh, the columns and all in pencil, ruler, everything. But right now there's no time. So it's basically just scribbling out the answers. It's getting to the final answer correctly rather than showing everything on the paper uh, for the time being for practicing. And that applies everywhere in costing, taxation. Um, Other than that, you need to again able to filter out quickly because even for the last 1.5 days, you won't have time to solve everything. So start filtering it out right now itself. Like which illustrations cover more parts of the chapter, what are the special points in those illustrations, uh, go through the end of chapter questions, go through RTPs, MTPs. Yeah, so that should be more or less it.
Okay. So, like in the last 40 days, while you are just going through your classes for practical subject, take a important question, and in last 40 days, you have to just focus on that question. And as Jai said, you don't have that much time for presentation and all. So you have to do all the written practice while you are taking classes way before exams. Okay.
Okay, that's great.
Just by
So the
solving
last,
material. Should I continue? Just solving RTP and study material would be sufficient then.
Yes, I think it should be sufficient, and I would recommend anybody to go for ICAI study material, particularly for costing and taxation. Taxation depends on the classes. If they have covered everything in their textbook, it's not so much of an issue. But costing, definitely, I would recommend ICAI material because there are certain questions with vague assumptions and certain ambiguous terminologies, and to be able to handle that, you need to have practiced that once in advance before appearing for the exam. And if a similar type of question comes in the exam where they have mixed two, three illustrations and made a new question, so you need to be able to figure out that this is what they are trying to mean. And for that, I think ICI modules, say practice, it's quite important.
Oh, thank you so much.
So we'll take one question of Harshita last. And one question which I found in chat was ki how much did you both score in your first mock?
For the first mock, I don't think it's the right time to evaluate yourself entirely because you are still figuring out that template, right? So for say accounting or something, it would have been between 70 to 80. For law and audit, I didn't evaluate myself over there in the first.
True.
Smith?
As I said, you cannot judge yourself from the first mock. You cannot.
Yeah, that's so very true. So last question will take off Harshita.
Yes, thank you, Kushi. So I wanted to ask you, Jay, that as I see that on the practice manual of Parveen Jindal sir, I every day see your picture. It's on the practice manual of Parveen Jindal sir, and I get motivated every day to work hard. So I want to know that people often say that we have to stick to one module, है ना? So what we have to do in all the subjects, not particularly accounts, because there are different books of different faculties. They are very good faculties in their particular subjects. So what we are supposed to do, we have to do the module for the first time, or the particular teachers books which we have got. So what we are supposed to do, I want to know this thing.
Right. I can tell you what I did. Firstly, thank you so much for your kind words. And coming to your question, um, see, I had referred ICA module for all subjects except direct tax. For direct tax, the classes which I had joined, they had provided a very good summary book and even the compiler book which they had provided of questions. It was quite comprehensive. I had ensured that it tallies with the ICI material. So there was no inconsistency there. Um, Managing which material to use, like in the first reading when you're attending the classes, obviously you cannot use the ICI module because the teacher is referring their own notes or they are solving from their own question book. But thereafter, I would suggest, like from your first revision itself, you should move to the ICI module because that's the 100% what ICI is expecting you to know and be able to analyze and apply that, right? So being able to
Mm.
cover everything over there from the first reading is very beneficial, I would say. Uh, if you find that certain textbooks of the classes are a good summary, you can use them, but you need to ensure that it's 100% exhaustive. They are not compromising with the syllabus or with the language. So, for example, that's very important in law or even in audit. Uh, so, otherwise, I would not recommend using the classes book. I would say stick to the study material or make your own summarized handwritten notes. Do anything, but don't compromise with the quality of it.
Okay, thank you. Got that. Thank you so much, Smith and Jay.
Yeah.
All the best for your future endeavors. Thank you. Thank you, Kushi.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we are done with all the questions. So I would like to thank Jay and Smith, both of you, for giving your time to the session, for sharing your great insights. आप लोगों ने जो tips and share किए, I am definitely sure कि this would help everyone a lot. जो way से आप लोगों ने सबकी questions को handle किया है, the way you answered it so gracefully, that was so very awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And I would like to also thank all the audience for joining in, for listening us patiently, and for being so interactive. Thank you to each and everyone present over you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, it was a wonderful session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kushi, for inviting us.
So I'll just end the session.